Welcome back to Classic Firearms. I'm Brandon, and this is the SIG MPX, a pistol caliber carbine that you may have on your short list. Let's get rid of this box. It takes up way too much of the screen, and talk about what exactly we have here. Putting it together, the SIG MPX is one of those where it is on the pricier side, but it's feature rich and well built. So without further ado, we're gonna talk about how this video breaks down. I'm first gonna tell you about all of the technical specifications of the gun. So we're gonna dive into that in just a second. Then we're gonna go tip to butt and talk all the features and the feel of the gun, what it's made out of, all that good stuff. And then beyond that, we're gonna verify some of those tech specs that SIG claims just to make sure that they're telling the truth. Because sometimes things are listed a little bit differently than actually come in the box. So I always like to verify those for you guys. So let's go ahead and jump right on into the tech specs. Being a pistol caliber carbine, this is chambered at 9mm. Now it also is gonna have a 4.5-inch barrel, and that barrel is made out of carbon steel. For those of you who are wondering, it is a 1 in 10 twist rate. Of course, she is semi-auto and has very similar controls to an AR. Your operating system is a gas piston system, and then you do have a brace on this because it is a pistol. They claim that the forend is made out of an alloy, it feels like aluminum, and the magazine type is an MPX specific mag. Your overall length is gonna be 22.25 inches. Your overall width is gonna be 2.4 inches. And your overall height is gonna be 8 inches. And finally, she weighs in at 5 pounds. It does not specify whether that is with the mag or without the mag, so we'll find that out in a little bit. So now let's go ahead and dive in tip to butt to see what we have. You do have a flash hider up front. It is in that A2 birdcage style. And then up top, you do have a full Picatinny rail. That's always nice because you're gonna be able to mount any of your optics, lasers, or lights that you want to put on that Picatinny rail. But also you have M-LOK on the left, right, and bottom sides. This is going to allow you to put those lasers and lights on a different side, not necessarily on the top, if that's something you want. And of course you can do M-LOK instead of Picatinny, whatever floats your boat. As we head on back, you can see we do have a charging handle that is very reminiscent of your standard AR. It is a ambi charging handle, which is always nice to see, meaning you can operate from both sides. And that does kind of go for most of the features on this thing. So with that price tag, you're gonna expect something that's well built, something that is very feature rich, and this does deliver in that regard. As the entire upper receiver portion of this is going to be aluminum, which is always good to see, because a majority of what you see is made out of metal. That's your handguard, your upper and lower receivers, even your charging handle. There is some polymer portions, like your actual pistol grip here, but everything feels really solid in the hand. But that higher end feel does also go to the controls. You have ambi, safety as well, which is always a good thing to see. You can operate from the left or the right. You do have ambi mag releases, so you can do that from either side. One with your thumb, let me show you. One with your thumb, or one with your index finger. And the same thing does also go with that bolt release. You can release it from there, or on the other side, as you would normally do on an AR style type gun. Always good to see. So familiarity is huge here, that's key. Now you also do have a little bit of a flared mag well. So the mag portion here, you can see it's pretty small, and that mag well is significantly bigger. A flared mag well, as most of you know, is always a very nice thing to see, because if you don't hit that mag reload and you're under pressure, right on the money, you're gonna be able to, it guides you right in. So, always good to see. That trigger is a flat-faced trigger. So as we're heading on down, we've talked about the controls, that trigger is a flat-faced trigger. Now, having shot this particular gun before, I know it feels really good, but I've never really analyzed it as I'm shooting it. So let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna go ahead and give it a little bit of pull so it's off of safe. We have charged the gun. The gun is clear, as we clear every gun before we ever start a video, but go ahead and move on. So as you start to pull that trigger, you notice you are right on that wall. There is no take up, it is right on the wall. And then a little bit of pressure, feels like about 4 to 5 pounds right there. You pull right through that wall and it just goes. Your release is very tactile and it's right on that wall again. There is really no movement here. The movement was the reset. And then you're right on that wall again. There is no take up in between. Bang. That's a very good trigger. You're gonna be able to put a lot of rounds downrange very quickly with this gun. That's also nice because that flared mag well, ease of use with the controls and the trigger, you're gonna be able to run this thing pretty quickly, which is fun. Beyond that, you do have, as I mentioned before, a polymer grip. It does have a moderately aggressive, like a lightly aggressive texturing on the sides, and then it does have a little bit of texture on the back portion as well. It also has a single kind of lip on the bottom to keep your hand from sliding off. Very useful if you're out in the heat. Gonna keep you from sliding off the gun. And then also, you do have a little bit of a storage compartment. Let's see if I can get this. Super stiff little thing here. There we go. A little storage compartment for any of the small bits and skittles you're gonna wanna put in there. Most people probably put oils or something. It is shaped very specifically what looks like for some of those smaller oil, the little cylindrical ones that you get. So one thing I did notice about this particular gun, and we touch a lot of PCCs, we hold a lot of guns here, Classic. The matte finish feels fantastic. It really does give it a little bit of extra grip almost. It's everything from the Picatinny rail, handguard, and the receiver is all a matte finish, and that does extend as we head on back to the polymer brace as well. That brace is that SIG Classic, you push the button and kind of push up with your hand to push it in, but you also do the same thing in reverse. So you push, there's a button right here, and I'll give you a close-up with that in some B-roll. You push that, and then it flies right out. It is easy to operate. It is something you do have to memorize though, because under pressure you might miss that button, or might just try to yank up on it, and that won't work. You gotta have the button. And then finally, we do have that brace portion where you can temporarily shoulder a pistol. It feels pretty good. It does move a little bit, so do keep that in mind, but that does help if you can get it in your shoulder pocket and you can kind of cant the gun and twist the gun a little bit easier, which is nice. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the verification of some of these tech specs. We're gonna start off with that scale, because I wanna see if it's actually 5 pounds with the mag or without the mag, so I'll be right back. Scale's on the table now. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. You can see this, I've not weighed this, so you can see it before I can. It is 5.34 pounds. With the mag, you're looking at 5.34 pounds, and then without it, 5.05, so just a touch heavier than they did quote, which rounding down, if it's a 0.05, does make sense. One more time, 5.34 for verification. And then fold it. See if the balance has any impact. It does not. That is the weight of it. Now, we're gonna go ahead and measure it. So it said 22 inches, and I believe that to be with the brace out, but they didn't necessarily list a length with the brace, so I wanted to go ahead and clarify how long is it with the brace. So let's go ahead and grab that. Will she stay steady? Haha, she will. All right, 25 inches is out. Let's see how she holds. You can see it, I cannot. Let me turn it back towards me. We are looking, okay, so with that flash hider, you're looking at 22.25 inches. So it's very, very close to what they did quote. So now let's go ahead and move on to the height on this thing. Let's see exactly how tall it is. My guess is what they did is it's 8 inches without the mag. So let's go ahead and check that out. We are looking at, again, you can see it before I can. Turn it back towards me. 11 inches with the mag, or 10.5 inches with the mag. And then from the grip portion here, that's where I'm guessing that 8 inches comes into play. I'm trying to line it up a little bit. About 7.5, 7.75 inches on the height. So they actually underquoted a little bit on the height. Now for the final test, the trigger pull. I think this thing's gonna be right around 4 pounds. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go ahead and grab that, get rid of you. All right, got the trigger pull gauge here. Let's set this up. So I'm gonna take the mag out so it's a little easier to hold. It balances much better like that. And we'll go ahead and give it our first hurrah. It's a nice flat trigger, so it should be very easy to do. In 3, 2. 3.56 on the first pull. Get a little bit more behind it here, and let's try again in 3, 2. 3.11. All right, one last try. I'm gonna go sideways on this one. In 3, 2. Wow, 3.11 again. That makes me want to redo it one more time just for verification. Right in the middle. In 3, 2. 3.11 again. Let me do it one more time. 3.72. So with all of that, that is the SIG MPX with the brace specifically. Let me know down below what you think about the MPX. If you shot one, do you have any experience? Leave a review because we would love to see your comments. I'll be down there answering any questions or clarifying anything that I may have missed on this particular overview. And I'd just love to hear from you guys and to your experiences, because some people have some really good, really cool experiences with some of these different guns that we do reviews on. Moving on, that's all I have for you guys today. God bless, stay safe. It is time to end. Now, I wanna go shoot this thing.